Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will be present about periodization, and the sport we chose is Taekwondo. And here the first one we go for the athlete status first. Okay, and this athlete is a male athlete. The age is 21 years old, and currently he is targeting for Sukma in Taekwondo, and joining the featherweight class, which is 60 to 65 kg. Um, this training is targeting for the beginning of pre-season to the competition, and later on to the recovery. So the season is the beginning of the pre-season. And for the sport evaluation, this taekwondo movement analysis is primarily on hand strike, kicking, blocking, self-defense, counter-attack, and sparring. That is the basic foundation of the sport itself. And the physiology analysis, which is the primary requirement for the athlete to train. And this, the first one is strength, power, speed, and quickness. Okay, this is the primary thing that we need to have to join the competition, which is the sparring. And then the third is athlete profile. Okay, this athlete has done resistance training session since high school, which is he possesses adequate skill in taekwondo, such as kicking and sparring, because he mainly focusing on sparring competition, and has joined several state and national rank competitions since high school. And he just completed rehabilitation training because he had injury on the previous season. So we classify it as an intermediate athlete.
Now, the category for the athlete is individual.
So let's proceed to the annual plan.
The main purpose of doing this realization is because the athlete wants to prepare himself to SUKMA 2020 in Johor in November. So now the athlete's goal is to achieve gold medal in the SUKMA 2020. Alright, now we will proceed into the calendar of competition. Alright, as I said just now, the periodization is mainly purpose for the SUKMA 2020. So this is annual planning, like annual lesson planning. So, but before we proceed to the SUKMA, we must have several stages of competitions in order to prepare the athlete itself uh, to achieve the fitness or the strength that he wants. So as we can see, in the general preparatory phase, we have one competition, and that is the circuit taekwondo. All right, this competition is mainly uh, objective is uh, to see how the athletes prepare himself in a competition. So it is in general preparatory, but it is okay. And then on March we have the Negus Milan Open. So this phase, although the phase is early for a competition, but this phase, uh, the athlete itself is preparing for SUKMA. So the athlete himself has a background of several competitions, but maybe before this, it is not that big competition. So the athlete more or less has the basic of taekwondo. So in order to prepare himself, we do the general preparatory phase, and we have a few competition. All right. So now we proceed to the specific preparatory phase, and we have the Malaysian Open in April 2020. Okay. Now, uh, after we develop our general preparation, so we want to enhance the athlete. We want to identify whether the athlete is ready or not to proceed with the next stage. So we registered the athlete for one competition, that is the Malaysian Open, and in this competition we do not have a specific goals. Uh, Only the goals for joining the competition is by seeing whether the weakness of the athlete himself. All right. Okay. Now, so we go to the pre-com. All right. Pre-com is very important before we proceed to the main competition because we want to ensure we as a coach and the athlete himself are prepared, are well prepared for the competition that is SUKMA 2020. So we have a sparring match in Rembang uh, about 2 weeks before the SUKMA is held. So we have a competition, we have a sparring or we have a friendly in Rembang in October, and then we go to the main competition. All right, the main competition, uh, the athletes have already well prepared. So this is the pace. This is the duration where the time where the athlete is prepared and the athlete wants to achieve the goal. All right. Okay. Now, so we go through the uh, picking index. All right. Picking index is the picking index is the index of sport form and related to overall stress level with special consideration of volume and intensity, specificity of training exercise and training block. So, okay, as we can see, the training index we started at 5, and then 4, 4, okay, 4, and then 3, then 3, and then in specific we change it 2, and then in the pre-com we already achieved the number 1 category. Okay, what is the picking index? Okay, picking index is we want to ensure that the athlete uh, is not having fatigue. Okay, because we want to make sure the athlete is prepared, is well prepared. All right. So and because of that, we must prepare with low intensity of training. All right. For start, general preparatory, the intensity must be less than 50% and low in fatigue. So the weekly training workload must be low, and then the willingness to train is low to high, and then the muscle soreness is high to low. Okay, then we proceed until we increase the picking index until the pre-com, that is 1. Okay, the 1 here is the preparedness level is 90 to 100%, and the fatigue rate is also low, but the weekly training workload must be medium taper, and the willingness to train is must be extreme. There is no muscle soreness here. Okay, the willingness to train is low and the muscle soreness is high during the picking index number 5 because the fact of the competition season is over and athlete need rest and recovery. Okay, so after the competition, the picking index for after competition, that is the transition phase, must return to 5 because uh, we want to uh, routine back the athletes' physical fitness. All right. Okay. So for the testing dates, all right. For testing dates, it equivalent to fitness testing. So we have several fitness testing that we uh, we conduct for the athlete, such as leap test, vertical jump test, and then we have 2.4, and then we have sit and reach. Okay, this kind of test we are testing the fitness for the athlete itself. So, okay, as you can see in general category we have one, two, we have two testing, and then in specific we have one and one, two. All right, same goes to preparatory. Okay, all right. Okay, so that is for testing dates. And uh, okay, then we have the medical control dates. Okay, then the medical control dates is where we want to make sure our athlete is in good health. So there are several medical checkup for the athlete in order to in order for us to make sure that the athlete is okay and normal and able to train with the intensity that we prepare. All right. For the camp and semi-camp, uh, this is uh, often related with team building. So each every athlete must have a camp, semi or semi-camp in order to uh, gain the chemistry or the friendship of the teammates himself. Although the athlete is in individual category, but we must uh, ensure that the psychological or the mental preparatory for the athlete is in good condition and is 100% prepared. Okay, so now the pre camp or camp we have during the pre-com and during the main competition, because during the main competition the athlete will stay uh, mostly will stay with the coaches and the teammates, because uh, it is in the other states and we cannot go back home until the competition is over. All right.
Phase in the periodization. So the first one is a general phase or a general preparation phase. So in this phase, the athlete want to have the adaptation in their anatomical or want to develop their fundamental skills. This is because if the athlete have a strong or basic fundamental of the skill, the athlete can do the complex skill even better because they have a solid basics. So next we proceed to the next one, which is the specific preparation. So in this phase, the athlete will focus on the tactical and the technical aspect of the skill, where the athlete will perform a more skill that mimic to the sport and will do a tactical training also. So this is where when the skill become more complex and will test the athlete. So next we'll go to the pre-competition. So in this phase is actually around 2 months or 1 month before the competition. So this is it. I show you. This is our pre-com. So that in this phase, the athlete want to maintain their fitness level. So in this phase, we will do the friendly match, the sparring session, and maintain their cardiovascular endurance and other basic skills. Then the last phase is the main competition. This is where the competition begin, and in this phase, the coach will start to use the tactical analysis to analyze their opponent and to help it by provide a tactical for the athlete during the tournament. So now I will explain the kind of training in the preparation phase. The first one is strength. Okay, strength is important in the combat sport because without strength, the athlete will don't have a strong muscular strength to kick the opponent, which will not do any damage to the opponent. So that's one is the power. Power is important for the combat athlete because this is where the skill that will help them to knock out their opponent. So with power, the athlete will able to knock out their opponent and win the match easily. And will end it earlier. Then the skill. So the skill is actually important for the athlete. So if the taekwondo athlete able to do one kick, for example like spinning kick, and they cannot do the other kick, the opponent can counter it easily. So by do a variety of skill and learn the variety of skill, the opponent will start to confuse in order what the athlete will do next. Then the nutrition. So nutrition is important in order for the athlete to cut weight, because every combat sport has their weight classes. So with a proper nutrition intake, which is in terms of carbs, fat, meat, and protein, okay, the athlete will able to cut weight before the competition. And this all the training phase will be included in the periodization phase. Then we proceed to the next presenter.
Okay, now we proceed to mesocycle. All right. Mesocycle is a training phase in annual plan, contain usually 3 to 6 of microcycle. It refers to main target of training for a specific period. All right, now we go to the first phase, that is general preparatory phase. As you can see, the duration is to January to March 2020. So here we apply the basic mesocycle where the load or, or intensity is low. So, and whether the load is increased by increasing volume intensity, or volume training only. So here you can see uh, in February we have 29 days. So we have 4 days of day that, and then it is equal to 20 days of hard work and 5 days of recovery. Right. We proceed to the specific phase, that is from April to September 2020. Okay, for the specific phase, we apply uh, from the beginning to the end of phase. We use preparatory phase. We use preparatory mesocycle, then change to shock mesocycle, followed by recovery. So as you can see, we choose July, and that you can see where the preparatory phase is increase in intensity and also volume. So then in the third week of July, we decided to change to short mesocycle, where in short mesocycle, we have more higher intensity in order to gain physiological adaptation. Then we have a slight recovery phase or recovery mesocycle at the end due to preventing fatigue. The intensity here is low. We decrease a little bit of the intensity and the volume. So in July we have 31 days, and then we have 4 days of day. That is equal to 22 days of work, hard work, and then 5 days of recovery phase. Okay, so now we proceed to pre-competitive phase. For pre-competitive phase, that is in October 2020, we use the pre-comp mesocycles, where the loading process, where it is the loading process before the main competition. Uh, in this cycle, in this phase, we focus more on tactical, that we apply the short mesocycle, then followed by preparatory mesocycle, where the intensity is high in the beginning of the mesocycle, and then we decrease a little bit to preparatory mesocycle in order to prevent from overtraining before the main competition start. So here we can improve the sport-specific movement or skill. So in October we have 31 days, and then we have off day 4 days. So the hard work of training equals to 22 days, and with 5 days of recovery. Okay, so for competitive phase, as we all know, the competitive phase we cannot have a higher intensity, but before the main competition, we can have the intensity is high. So we apply the maintenance of training, and we slightly increase during the early month of the main competition. But then before around 1 week before the main competition, we decided to decrease the intensity to become low. so that the athlete will become very consistent or very ready in achieving the goals of the main competition. All right. Last but not least, we have the transition phase. That is the last phase of the annual training program. So in the training phase, we decided to use the recovery mesocycle where everything is in low. So we have low intensity, we have low volume, because in this phase we only focus on the recovery, and we want to activate the active recovery in order to prevent the athlete of and becoming very weak or very fatigued after the main competition ended. All right, that's all.
So our annual plan consists of 12 macrocycle. In the macrocycle, we got
Proceed to the microcycle. Microcycle is the shortest training cycle, typically lasting, with the goal facilitating a focuses block of the training. Block of the training is it which is the physical preparation, technical preparations, psychological preparations, and tactical preparation. So I will go through one by one for the graph. So usually in the general preparatory, week 1 until the week 4, we started our training. We start our training. The peaking intensity is low because usually training is must designed in slow intensity to adaptation for exercise training program. So we create into the week 2 it over the 80% because we want our our athlete to adapt the pressure. I take example, if the athlete is put in line to get the goal, usually the athlete will get easily we get increase the anxiety and pressure. So we design the psychological preparation is to reduce the anxiety and pressure level of the athlete. So we go through to the uh, week 5 until week 8. Usually, this second phase is we want to focus the athlete to build a fitness base. So this speaking to build increase our athlete's overall fitness. So we design the physical. It's over into the 60% uh, to build our athlete strength and power. This phase is time to fix back all weakness of the athlete, and we started to plan nutrition, the proper nutrition to our athletes because taekwondo needs a proper nutrition to maintain the category in a specific way. So we go through to the week 11 until week 24. So this phase usually, uh, I will explain. This phase is usually to focus in specific sports, fitness in a sport. So this phase is time to focus on sport fitness. During this phase, need to practice skill needed during the specific sport. So as we can see here, our graph, we design the physical preparations. It's on the 70% because we want to focus the physical body and fitness to achieve the height, achieve what we want our athlete to get. So uh, this phase, usually we focus to the technical preparation to get our athlete to improve their health related fitness and get a good conditions. So we go.
Okay, this is our annual plan, which is the periodization itself. We administer the annual periodization plan based on the training class, which is the athlete is in intermediate class. So we provide the training with the linear periodization method. So we choose the linear periodization method because the athlete itself is an intermediate and he has recovered from the injury. So we assume that the we must build his foundation first. So the best periodization to use is the linear periodization because it starts with the lower intensity but high volume. So as you can see, in the general periodic phase, the intensity is low, but it increasing in the volume as we go for the month by month, and then at the specific phase, uh, usually specific phase, we focus on the higher intensity and higher volume. So the variable is higher intensity and higher volume. So we focus on that because in the specific, it already have a strong foundation, but it must focus more on the technical preparation. And as we go from the to the pre-competition, the intensity get higher and more higher. So the line right here is we call the peaking point, which is you can see the peaking point from the general preparatory phase to the specific preparatory phase and to the pre-competition. The peaking point is much more higher than in the pre-com than the specific, and it will continue the peaking until the main competition. Um, the periodization, linear periodization also uh, is for is for actually for beginner, but we use it for the amateur because, as I said before, it is the athlete have suffered injury and need to build up this strong foundation. I think that is the reason why we choose this type of linear periodization. And also another one, it is easy to administer because the variable, the intensity and volume keep going high and high, and at the main competition, we just focusing on the uh, tapering, and after that, the decision goes for lower volume and intensity, but still in active rest. Okay.
Okay, now we move to the lesson plan. Uh, is, uh, we decided to choose the competitive phase in the month of October, in week 3 of the pre-competitive phase. Okay, so as we just said, as we said just now, the age of the athlete is 21 years old, and the resting heart rate for the athlete is 45 beats per minute. The maximum heart rate we calculate, and it is 199 beats per minute. So the heart rate reserve is 154 beats per minute. Okay, now, all right. Before that, we decided to have a 5 days of training in a week for pre-com. So we have 2 days of rest. Okay, for the first day, that is Monday, the venue is at the gym. And firstly, the goal of the program is to maintain the muscular strength. Okay, so, all right. For this day, the warm up and we will start with warm up and stretching. So we will start with cycling on stationary cycle for 10 minutes, and then we have several static stretching such as hamstring, calf stretch, shoulder stretch, quadricep stretch. Right, this is about around 10 minutes and 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, so the main activity, we decided to do a circuit training that focus on both limbs, that is the upper and the lower limb. Alright, so we have 3 sets for 10 reps for each activity, and then we have the barbell bench press, we have the barbell squat, we have the medicine ball wall throw, we have the dumbbell lunges, we have the lat pull down, and last but not least, we have calf raise. So as you can see, we have 3 upper limb exercise and 3 lower limb exercise. Alright, okay, and now, alright, so for cooling down, we have the ice bath. Alright, the benefits of an taekwondo athletes doing muscular strength training is that they can increase the energy, and then they provide useful strength, and also they enhance the posture of the athlete, and also give strength to uh, kicking, especially because in taekwondo we have the kicking is important for in order to gain points, and also the athlete may also improve their muscle tones and appearance, and increase the strength and stamina, and may also increase the confidence and self-esteem. Alright, why I choose ice bath for cooling down is because uh, the training that we do, that we conduct for the athlete, and then we have the ice bath. It may relaxen the body of the athlete. Okay, so the benefits of the ice bath is helping combat microtrauma that often occurs when performing intense exercise. So when we in a pre-competitive phase, uh, surely the intensity will be intense, the exercise will be intense. So we provided ice bath in order to the athlete to relax in the body, and then it may also lessening the muscle soreness, and also it, it can diminishing the swelling and tissue breakdown. Okay. So this is the calculation of the IOD, and as you can see, the overall calculation, the index overall demand is equal to 72%.
So for the next session, we decide to do some cardiovascular endurance exercise. So we will decide to do it at the track, and the goal of the program is to maintain the cardiovascular endurance. And the IOD, or the index overall performance for the exercise, is 75.33%. So for the exercise, the athlete will start to warm up by jogging for 10 minutes around the track. So the athlete will relax and jogging for 10 minutes to make sure their muscle is already warm up, and to enhance their blood circulation. And then the athlete will do the dynamic stretching. So the reason why we choose the dynamic stretching, because we want to make sure that all the muscle be stretched and be warm up properly, because the main activity require the use of a lot of muscle. So the athlete will do it in a control movement, and we stretch it until the level of discomfort or at the full range of motion. So then we proceed to the main activity. The main activity that we choose is a long, slow distance. This is one of the best exercise for the cardiovascular endurance in order to maintain their cardiovascular endurance before the competition. So the athlete will run 1.5 hours around the track, and with the easy pace of 5.45 until 6.00 per kilometer. So in order the athlete to maintain the face, the coach or the us will provide the athlete with the Garmin watch here. So this is the watch that used by the runners in order for them to maintain and to check their face whether they run over face or under face. So with this watch, the athlete can know the level of face they run. So during the main activity, the athlete was suggested to listen to the music during the run because this is actually a long duration of run. So to avoid any boredom during the training, so then the athlete will cooling down, and the activity used is the PNF, and the athlete will do and hold every exercise for 15 seconds and do it until the level of discomfort. This to make sure that all the muscle be stretched in order to prevent any injury. And the method that we use to calculate all of the information and the IOD is the index of performance calculation. So this is the calculation, and the final result we got is 75.33. So that is the reason why we choose the LSD training. Watch the video.
Mental fitness plays a big role during competition. I am not running on my legs alone. I am running with my heart and my mind. If you don't rule your mind will rule you.
So from the video, you can see that it said that the mental fitness is important in the competition because if you don't rule the mind will rule you. So the reason why we chose it is because it is not only to maintain their cardiovascular endurance, but you also want to improve their mental fitness. So for the combat athlete, the mental fitness is actually one of the most important thing for the fighter because the provoke from the opponent will disturb their mental. So by running 1.5 hours is actually quite challenging, even though it is easy phase because the athlete is not a marathon runner, but is actually a fighter. So when they run for 1.5 hours, they will feel some type of feeling of satisfaction after finish the run, and this is known as the runner high. So when the athlete able to complete 1.5 hours during the one period during the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes, they still believe in themselves, but at the middle or at the end of the phase they will start to feel want to give up. So this is where their mental will be tested. So in order to complete it, the athlete need to fight with their mental and push themselves beyond their limit. So this is where their mental fitness can develop. So as their mental fitness develop, there's nothing they can do during the competition, and they actually we have no problem with their mentals even though the opponent disturb them, and even during the competition they can still push themselves even though they are at their limit due to the strength of their mental. So this is the reason why we choose the LSD trainings.
Okay. Next, we proceed with the third days of training in pre-competition week. So as usual, the pre-competition subphase is mainly focusing to improve the tactical strategies and technical execution and maintain their overall fitness. So it is more focused on tactical and technical strategy. So as usual, uh, the first one we have a warm up and stretching. So the warm up stretching, we have jogging for 10 minutes and do the dynamic stretching. So I choose the dynamic stretching because it is more preferable to the activity that we want to do after the stretching, which have more movement, and it stress the overall joint on the body. So I choose the dynamic strength rather than static strength. So the first one is arm swings, cohesive stretch, hamstring stretch, groin stretch, ankle mobilization. Mobilization. So it is overall focusing on the almost all parts of the body and joint. It's because this taekwondo training is involving actually all of the body parts. So the heart rate must achieve is 120 BPM. So we go for the main activity. The main activity comprises of three parts, which is the first one is attacking, the second one is defending, and the third one is light sparring. So the attacking is focused on how the athlete attack the opponent. So the first main point is the athlete must focus on the pre-setup of kicking series. So before the athlete kick scoring point or hitting any opponent, they must adapt to their own pre-setup kicking series. So this kicking series, they might establish by their own self. Um, um, Actually, every athlete have their own kicking series, which is the combination of many kicking series that is favored by the athlete. So usually the coach will emphasize easiest easiest and simple kicking series, but the athlete may have their own uniqueness or to adapt in their kicking series. So the second point is emphasis in success rate and efficiency of point scoring. So as we know, in real life competition, taekwondo competition, uh, the success rate of the kicking is very important because every hit on the opponent will get a marks. So usually, the athlete must kick upper body rather than lower body, because lower body, if the athlete hit the lower body, they will get a penalty. So the coach must tell the athlete to focus on the scoring area at the opponent body. Example, you kick at the head, body, and any part of the body which upper up of the body. And we go for 3 minutes, 6 set, and rest between second 2 minutes. So next is defense. Defending is also very crucial to this sport. So the athlete must focus on anticipating the opponent offense. So actually the taekwondo have their on block technique, but in the real life competition, usually the athlete anticipating skill must come first before must come first because the opponent attacking is too fast, so the team must anticipate how the opponent form to attack the athlete. So next is after anticipate, so it's very important to do the counter attack. So the coach must emphasize on the athletes to wait for the perfect timing to counter attack back the opponent. And the third activity is light sparring. So the light sparring is we do the light sparring to recollect back the learning process of the attack and defense. So the athlete have must master or must adapt to the practicality of the training in the light sparring. So this usually in the real life competition, it takes 3 minutes for the first parts, which for the competition, which is for the match. So we have three part of the match, which is the first round, second round, and third round. So the first every round comprised of 3 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes. So this is I so the light sparring usually I use for the duration is really close to the real life competition. So after that we as usual we use the cooling down. So the cooling down must we use the pain for stretching. Um, so overall our training, the technical and tactical strategy is very important to the athlete itself, rather than improving the physiological. So I mean in the pre in the pre-competition phase, the athlete itself must have a good strong foundation. So they must focus on the tactical and the other parts of the physiological adaptation they must maintain in this sub phase, pre-competition sub phase. Okay. Okay, we go for the next presenter.
Day Thursday. The venue of our training on that day is the Rock Fitness Gyms. So the goals of performance is to maintain lower body muscular endurance. First, we start with a warm-up, which is jogging. Jogging at the treadmill for about 10 minutes. Then followed by the stretching. For that day, we will do the lower body exercise. So my plan is to stretch on the lower part, which is quadricep stretch, hamstring stretch, calf stretch, and cobra stretch, which involve your core muscles. So for the heart rate on the training is about 120 bpms. For the intensity level, about 60 bpms. The duration from the jogging until to the stretching about 20 minutes. And for the resting of activity, about 5 minutes. We go to the main activity, which is circuit training. Circuit training will involve 3 sets of 20 reps. So the activity for the circuit training, first set we got the hip abduction with machine, hip adduction with the machine, leg press, leg extension, leg flexion, and the seated calf raise. And the heart rate about the activity is about 140 bpm. The intensity about 70, and the rest between sets, the rest between section about 15 seconds, and the rest between activity about 14 seconds. So for the last activity, which is cooling down. Cooling down is very important for any athlete or for any people who do after the exercise. So for the cooling down, we do the static stretching, which the athlete need to sit on the floor and need to stretch from the leg, from the toe until the head. So the heart rate will about 18 bpm, and the intensity about 40, and the activity will take about 10 minutes only. So make sure the athlete comfortable with the training session, doesn't complain about any injury, and lastly, the important part is enjoy during the training session. So here is the calculation of the IOD. So we start with the maximum heart rate, calculate until the IOD, and we got the result about 73%. 73% is the overall intensity demands which the athlete will do for that day. Why I choose 73%? Because I want to maintain the intensity, I want to maintain the muscular endurance and not to maximize the muscular endurance. And this is a good reason for me to reduce a bit from the specific phase, because I want to avoid from getting injury before the competition phase. And 73% is a range that is good, and this is recommended for any athlete to do that intensity during the pre-competition phase. So we'll go to the next day, which is Saturday, because Friday we'll do the rest day, and also on the Sunday.
Okay, so we proceed to the presentation in Taekwondo. So the goal of program we target is improving speed. Speed is really needed in Taekwondo. So without speed, the athletes cannot attack the opponent to get the point. So for the first exercise, usually every sport needed to warm up first. Without warm up, the athlete easily can get injury. So we start warm up with a jogging. We jogging around 10 minutes around the field to improve their to improve their fitness level and decided we want to increase their heart rate level first. And then we do a static stretching like quadricep stretch, hamstring stretch, and arm swing, and ring stretch. This stretch to improve their ROM before start the training. So for the second exercise is the speed training. All the speed training we do 3 set and 10 reps. Okay, for the lateral plyometric jumps, we move the athlete must move side by side. Okay, I will show the video first. Okay, like I say, side by side, the athlete needed to do is okay, move forward and backward, and at the same time, side by side. Okay, like this video. Okay, for the ladder drills, the athlete usually, the athlete taekwondo, the pro or amateur athlete taekwondo must have a good footwork before they compete to opponent to the competition. So like the drill usually designed for the modern techniques. The athlete must hanging their leg in half of the body to attack the opponent. Okay, I will show example. Okay. The athlete must hanging the leg into the air until the ladder drill finish. This technique is we use for the modern style in taekwondo. So we proceed to the resistance turning kick. Resistance turning kick, usually we put the resistance band into their leg to get resistance. So the athlete will get easily to improve their speed and power too. So I will show you a video. So as you can see here, the wristband we put at the body or the leg to gain the speed and power. So we proceed to squat jump. Squat jump normally the all athletes know that the squat jump how to do, and it can improve our quadriceps and solid. So we proceed to the zigzag with it. Usually the training all of the sport use the zigzag in training to improve their footwork too. So I will explain with the video. Okay, I will show you the zigzag.
The first touch. You're gonna slide forward, roundhouse kick, side
So this athlete perform
slide forward.
the zigzag into the cone and proceed with the kicking. So the athlete can improve their footwork like to counter attack the opponent. This both techniques is really needed in taekwondo to attacking or defending style. So we proceed to the last proceed to the last size is lunges and kick. Usually uh, lunges is a common exercise or training in sport. Uh, so sometimes the lunges can increase our flexibility and our muscle endurance. So the lunges turning kick is will perform lunges, and the athlete taekwondo must kick. Then and the last session is the cooling down. We perform the PNF. we go through into the picking phase. Usually the picking phase before the athlete go through the taper. Most athlete will go through their fitness at the maximum level for a period 1 or 2 weeks, depending in how the training program is designed it. So we design it for our athlete to get a maximum level of the performance of the athlete. So as we can see here, week 29 and week 34, we increase the little bit the intensity of the training to the athlete to get the maximum level of the performance of the athlete. So tapering phase. So the tapering usually it's between intensity and volume. So during taper, we must reduce a little training intensity to avoid the athlete get the overtraining and can cause our athlete injury. So during the tapering, uh, we decrease our intensity level into the 80 to 90%, usually 80%. And as we can see here, our athlete get tapers at the week 49. This part, we want our athlete to get the nice level of the performance of the athlete. So we design the taper. Usually, we design to decrease our training volume by 80 to 90%, and our frequency will reduce into the by the 20%. So we proceed to the next phase is the rest and recovery. So usually rest and recovery, we just design for our athlete to get the active rest, to get back their optimal level and to sustain their fitness level too. So our athlete can reduce their depressions, their anxiety level, and to maintain the health relative fitness of the athlete. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Periodization is the annual training plan that used by the athlete to train for the big event. So, regarding our periodization presentation earlier, our periodization include several of the aspect in terms of the medical aspect and the test aspect, and also the training that contained in the periodization, which is consists of strength, nutrition, power, skill, aerobic and anaerobic training. So from our periodization, we also explain regarding the mesocycle, the peak, tapping and deload of the training for the periodization, and also we also included the method that used for each of the training session. And regarding for our slide presentation, we also include the microcycle with the weekly training plan for our phase that we choose, which is the pre-competition. And during the day-to-day training, we also include the method that we use to analyze the index of performance using the IOD method. And we'll also explain why we choose the training and why is it suitable to do that during the pre-competition phase. So from the our presentation, we hope that this presentation can be used by the future Taekwondo athlete in order to improve their skill for the next performance. And we hope that our athlete will achieve what they want to achieve, is to win the Sukma in the 2020 in the Taekwondo. And for the presentation also, we also explain regarding our athlete's background, such as his weight class, his age, his movement analysis, need for analysis, and all the things that are required, and also the status of the athlete. So as a conclusion, we hope that this training plan will be helpful for our athlete in order to improve their performance. So that's all for us. So thank you, doctor, and assalamualaikum, and selamat hari raya Aidilfitri. Maaf zahir dan batin. Bye.